Well, we'll wait for it to get all streaming here. So, hello, everybody. Welcome once again to this beautiful day. Sun isn't up quite yet. Oh, yeah, it is. It's up. I had to look out the window. Anyway, with all the lights that I have in here. Anyway, I've got a continuation of my drawing and some discussion on political fetishes and other demons and doorknobs, which I think is kind of an overall arching theme from the last 5 years. And I just wanted to go through and let's do a time-lapse replay of what I did here. So I started off with photographs that I had done of myself. This is the very first photo session that I did for fairy tales and other futile fantasies. So you can see a correlation with my title for today. And I did a composite like I have in the past, and there's two of me. Some of you might not know that I do have a twin. We keep her locked in a box, in a closet. So I just wish she was more functional so that I could be in two places at once. But here's photo proof that I do have a twin. And so basically it's trickery, and I been working on this piece, and when the time lapse is done, so this is where we are right now. And I just wanted to go and I want to show you where this all began. This was my first in the series, Me as the Mad Hatter and Me as March Hare, and it's called I don't remember the title. How is a writing desk like? Oh, see, this is terrible. I just looked at it. And it's Edgar Allan Poe. Oh, let's see if I can get out of here and go to my Dropbox, because that's me playing. Okay. If we go down to F for fairy tales. Fairy tales and other futile fantasies. J for JPEG. No, we'll just go down to W because it'll see. Nope, that's not it either. This is terrible. I should have wrote it down. TIFFs, JPEGs. Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it was the very beginning, nonetheless. You can go to my website and you can look it up. And so, one of the things about our current political system is there's a whole lot of this. This is a painting that I did in this whole series. And it's a bloody hand pointing in his finger at somebody who is in a straitjacket because they're starting to believe they're crazy because there's been a lot of gaslighting. And they have the apple in their mouth. You know, because we're original sin with the apple and all that. And then there's these faceless, nameless people in the back, all plotting. And it says a mass meeting for this evening in the picture behind. And I feel like this an awful lot. And I'm kind of sick and tired of being asked to shut up because of various political fetishes. And so that is one of the things, oh, didn't, for some reason, I had it heard. There we go. Okay. It's not cooperating today. Okay. So let me get started on some more line work. And you might be asking, well, there it is. Okay. Couldn't find a pen. So you might be wondering what I mean by political fetishes. And, I grew up with the idea of, I guess I'm going to identify myself. I mean, we're on social identity, right? I'm on the early cusp of a Generation Xer. And so we lived through an awful lot of stuff. And so what we've come to find out is that there are people out there that want to control other people, and they want to control us by speech. And we need to recognize that when someone else says that what you're saying is hateful, when you're not using hateful language, you were just trying to have a debate on a subject, they're just wanting to shut you down. And actually, what it actually means is that they have nothing better to argue back. You have won the argument when they start calling names, which is kind of sad. But because they don't even realize that the things that they're saying actually reveal more about them than what they're trying to argue against. And I find that interesting. And I think as our generation gets older and more curmudgeon-y, I've noticed I'm getting way more curmudgeon-y. And, I talked about the progressive commercial the other day about turn into your parents. And that's what Generation X is starting to do. And they've got kids, they've got responsibilities. They're the generation right now that is making things go. They're the ones that have I don't want to say power and influence, but they're the ones that are working the jobs. They're the supervisors. They're the ones that are making sure, they're kind of thinking maybe seriously about what their retirement's going to look like. And it's starting to look pretty scary. So what we're hit with is all of this political fetish. And what I mean by, and a fetish is something that means something. What I mean by fetish is that means something that to you, and it is not necessarily important to the world. And what we're seeing now is that kind of thing. And I don't know if you noticed that the political fetishes seem to be happening in Congress and in the media to sway public opinion. And they seem to be spending an awful lot of time looking for demons in absolutely everything. Let me give you an example. So if you have any opinion that leans toward positive for our current president, you will be demonized. You will be marked with some ism, racism, sexism, etc., etc., etc. So you just, whatever. That's all part of the identity politics of putting us in little groups, separating people by obvious visuals. They also want us separated by our religion. They want us separated by status. There's an awful lot of separation that if you go get, good morning, Nicole, thanks for joining. You notice that they want us divided. And when you start getting divisions, let's just put me in a bunch of politically correct holes. So I'm female, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm blonde haired, blue eyed. I'm married, so that would make me cisgender. Where in the hell did that come from? There's a whole lot of changing of language that is not normal. This is, again, political fetishes and demons and doorknobs. Let's see. I can't remember now. I lost track. 5 different variations of who I am. I'm an artist. I'm an entrepreneur. And once you get past 7 and definitely into 9 of the pigeonholes that they want you in, you're an individual. There is no one like you. You can choose to group yourself in, like my Generation X. I'm a Generation Xer. Okay, so it's another pigeonhole. You start making these socially defined, constructed situations that and once you belong to, 7, 9 of them, you are now an individual. Oh, thanks, Nicole. She loves hearing my thoughts. So, as an individual, I don't think everybody realizes this, but once you hit the individual category, because you belong to 7, 9 different variations of categories, that is what the Constitution is trying to protect. Your individual freedom. So I have the freedom of speech, freedom of expression. That means I can't be jailed. And, there's all this talk about hate speech. And unfortunately, our Constitution allows us to put ourselves out there publicly as assholes without going to jail. And I'm not talking about somebody who does something actually illegal. And we're also protected against coercion. It's not like directly out there in straight language. But it seems to me that there's an awful lot of attempts to coerce each other with this political, all these political fetishes and political speech. If you don't, let's say I have something that I really admire about our president. And it's something we all can learn from if we just stop and consider. No president in history has undergone as much criticism as our current president. And his resiliency is astounding. And any critic of the president, I would like to see them go through something similar to the last 3 years of national and international criticism and not have them sitting in the corner with their holding their knees and rocking back and forth and thinking, oh, they hate me. They hate me. Okay? Resiliency, and we all need resiliency of mind and of heart and of spirit. And it seems like all this political fetish trying to shut people up is enough to break down anybody. And I'm going to guess that there's going to be a lot, oh, well, yeah, he's just narcissistic. So he's not, it's, that's just narcissistic behavior, just to continue to go on despite criticism. Is it? Is it really? Well, I have my criticisms of our president, like I've had criticisms of every other president. Oh my gosh, they're all human. What? They all make mistakes. And I'm going to tell you something else, that all of his followers, and I don't want to call them followers, all of his supporters see, I think, the same thing I see in him. Prior to this president, there's always been this fear of public persona, fear of criticism. They change their viewpoints. They change, and this goes for all politics. They're worried more about their next election, whether or not they're going to keep their position of power, than they are as to whether or not they're doing any good for you and me as their constituents. And they'll say anything, absolutely anything, and then they will change their position and they'll have all sorts of excuses. But right now, what we're seeing is a whole lot of demons being put up. And we're talking about not real demons. We just lived through years of being told that our president was a Russian agent. He was a Russian puppet. And there's people out there that really actually still believe everything, all the narrative that has gone on for the last 3 years. Yeah, you can sit and when you look for bad things, you can always find bad things. That's looking for demons and doorknobs. I didn't define that earlier, in case you're not familiar with that phrase. So, and I tell you what, this is something that I think is extremely important, is that we need to resist being shut up. And I know that this little podcast thing here that I'm doing, this video blog, hasn't reached enough people to start getting haters. People trying to tell me kind of white supremacy, whatever I am, because that's the demon in the doorknob. And there are so few white supremacists in the United States that we have elevated them to boogie monster status, just to put fear into people. And so what I always wonder is, when these things come up, all these weird political fetishes, it doesn't make any sense. What is it that they're covering up? What is it that they're not wanting us to see? And that goes for all politicians. What is it that's probably low enough, I don't need that. What is it that they're not wanting us to see? Basically, they're doing whole, actually, see, I'm going to go, and eventually you're going to actually see how all this fits together with what I'm doing here with the Mad Hatter and March Hare, because eventually it's going to make sense to me. So, oh, a little note there. A little plate. And they really want you just to eat up all of those things. And then, remember in Alice in Wonderland how when she ate things and drank things, how interesting things happened to her? Yeah, they want you to drink in the Kool-Aid and eating the cookies because it's in a safe space. That's what you get in a safe space, right? And I've been kind of sitting in my own safe space. Yeah, that was too big. In case you were wondering, I did look this up, so I had this number right on his cap. And I might actually, this is the right number. This is actually the right number, but I'm changing it. And anybody, there's going to be some people out there that are going to understand what this means. Ooh, that got crazy big. And I'm not going to let you in on that one. You're going to have to look it up. And you'll see that in my other work. Political fetishes. Oh, I got lots of... Hi, Shelley. Yes, Nicole says it's enough to make one go crazy. And yeah, they'll all become Mad Hatters. And, of course, March Hares, too. March Hare. Isn't he, like, angry? If I remember right? Angry? Mad Hatters? And you know why Mad Hatters mad? It's because of the mercury they used to create the hats that they had. They got mercury on them. They went mad. Let's think of mercury as, the ideas that are going on that aren't good for us. Yes, Shelley says that both sides use fear as a marketing tool, and that's absolutely correct. And the reason they do that, it's amazing to me. If you remember back at 9/11, there was the whole nation seemed to come together, and the whole nation seemed to come together through the media and everything. And then it was, we will rise, we will rise and defeat this enemy, and which we now know was also a hoax. And so really, Generation Xers have been filled with hoaxes, from Milli Vanilli on out, political, and yeah, I don't know where Milli Vanilli. I guess because that's like the first time I realized that, wow, they can actually get away with bringing someone up to stardom and letting them lip sync because they like their look. And it's all the political stuff, and it's infiltrated all of our entertainment. If you look carefully at the storylines. No, we watched Hellboy. There is part of the storyline in there where one of the characters offers Hellboy soup, and it's little kid soup, and it's metaphoric for eating children. I mean, it's eating children, and there's a metaphor there, or is it? It's disgusting, and yeah, so that would be an easy plot point. And the whole thing was kind of jump the shark on Hellboy, the storyline, and it makes yourself wonder how in the world these people got the millions of dollars to make that movie. Who is it that's connected? Let's see. Yeah, well, Shelley, she says that in fact everything in our culture it depends on fear to sell it. Yeah, well, so being fearful, and it's also conspiracy as well. I took a marketing course, and it was interesting that they said first define the pain point, and then tell people how you solve their pain point. And I just never really felt comfortable with that as a marketing tool. But it works. It works very effectively. And that's where all the clickbait comes from. And all of the other things. I mean, if you look carefully, there's all sorts of pain points. I'll return to that progressive commercial. I did post it on my timeline on Facebook, so if you're curious, where the young artist is a waitress, and the fear point that they're selling there is that you're going to become like your parents, but you want to be like your parents in protecting what you own. So there's the pain point, fear, and the sale altogether. Now, we can argue as to whether or not that is actually effective, but I think Progressive has sold enough insurance to do that experiment. If you look carefully at every commercial, there's the pain point, then there is the how we solve that pain point. Yeah, there we go. Shelley says, pain point. You are not cool, intelligent, or sexy if you don't buy my art. And it is by her art. And that would be an actually perfect pain point. That's funny. Q, and she spelled Q with a K. Kewl, cool. And intelligent or sexy. If you don't buy my art. Now, see, the thing is you gotta say how the art, that's the next, we're gonna work through Shelley's marketing here. So now that you define the pain point, you have to tell how your art is going to make people cool, intelligent, and sexy. That's the trick. Because I don't particularly feel like I'm extra sexy with your artwork, but I do feel cool and intellectual. Because yours is funny and full of wit. Oh, there was California. Oh, that's a California surf accent with the Q. Yeah. When I think of California surf, I think I'm dating myself here. I think of, it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and all I need is some tasty waves and cool breeze, and I'm fine. Yeah, that's a surfer for me. That's how entertainment has brought surfer, and I'm sure that there are cool and sexy and intelligent surfers out there. But Sean Penn defines, in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, defines surfer for me as a Generation Xer. Let's see. There we go. Nicole's saying some really nice things about my art. Yeah. Well, you probably will be able to own one soon because most of these pieces that are being done now are going to be sold strictly as prints. So the prints are less expensive. Oh, and Shelley Bedshall says Keanu Reeves makes her think of Surfer. Yeah. Along with Sean. And Sean Penn also in that movie with him, Keanu. Yeah. However, Keanu's really come into his own as a serious actor. Yeah, Matrix, I think, kind of did that for him. Well, talking about Matrix. Oh, see, this is just going all sorts of different directions. But it's still demons and doorknobs. You got to understand that through entertainment, through everything that has built up as popular culture, it's filled with political fetishes and demons and doorknobs. Stuff that people have looked for to bring out the fear. Well, that's like in the wrong spot altogether, isn't it? Putting a little chimney on here. A little crooked chimney. Yeah. Keanu Reeves. Oh, The Matrix. Yeah, let's get back to The Matrix. That's insightful. Makes you wonder whether or not we're living in a simulation. And I do follow Scott Adams. That's one of my influences. I don't know if you're familiar with who he is, but Scott Adams is the creator of Dilbert, who has... Okay. Thanks, Nicole. She believes that my paintings are going to end up being priceless. Not in the current art market. And I hope that I'm not dead if it ever becomes priceless. I'm certainly hoping that I'm not dead by the time that happens. But he believes that we're living in a simulation, and of course we can control our own simulation to some degree. And most of his perspective comes from following people or through the lens of persuasion, whether or not you can persuade somebody with your thoughts and intentions. And that's how the lens he looks at politics and world issues through, is whether or not it's actually persuasive or not. And so, which is very interesting. And I find him entertaining. Now I can't remember. I did say he was the creator of Dilbert. Anyway, he's got a Periscope thing. Comes on at 9, which was when I'm ended here. You can go check him out on Periscope. And he is a fan of Trump's persuasion techniques. And again, this kind of ties into the whole marketing thing. So what is it that persuades so well with Trump? And well, for one thing, he actually paid attention to what people were saying. And he also is an entrepreneur, and he's worked in the business. And so he kind of and I think he's pretty hands on and goes to the work sites and stuff. Um, I mean, to some degree. And so he knows, at least he knows what, the journeyman and construction workers and the working people, how they think and how what things mean to them. Just a minute. I'm going to make a small little change here. Can you see it? Do you see it? Put one up here too. It's got to see it. Anyway. I'm going to finish that stuff later, but I might put some wiggles back here to indicate some flora. Because that stuff isn't near as important as the rest of the... And I haven't really thought that out, so this might end up getting erased anyway. So as a millennial who has been... actually, I want to put this on a new layer behind because I'm not sure I'm going to stick with it. They'll be easy to erase. This is going to be that tree behind there. So we kind of... Oh, it got crazy there. Maybe it needs to be bigger. So... See, now I'm thinking, because I didn't have this planned out already. Okay, so let's give some indications of a tree behind there with some leaves. You know what? I might see if I can't find a stamp for leaves later. I think I will. I'll create a stamp when I'm not here or when I'm not live. Or I'll add that once I figure out how to do it. Yeah, Matrix and Alice in Wonderland, same story. Absolutely. Now I completely lost track of my thought processes there. That's okay. It'll come back unless you all want to remind me what it is. That's what what's interesting about... What's interesting about working and talking, working on art and talking at the same time, you are actually really taxing both sides of your brain. That's the interesting part of being able to, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing as far as... Oh, I got crazy with those. And I don't know if it's at all entertaining. So surely there's got to be some kind of entertainment factor. I'm going to get rid of all of these and bring up my thingy. So, see, I got that wrong. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay, I'm going to erase. See, this is the reason why I use the underline sketch. So at least it makes sense. Yeah, some big old nostrils there. I think it's the angle. Yeah, you got the chin right. All right. There we go. When I try to pinch, you make marks. All right. So now I got some line work done. I think I need to duplicate that. I'm just going to delete that tree for now. And I'm going to use, well, I can always move it. Okay, so we're going to just color some of this in, get some of our color in. This will be fun. Oh, okay, so just see how good my line artwork is. So we're just working it. I was watching the other day that various design trends, and I don't want to sound like paranoid and stuff, but there are actual trends that are out there. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my line work here because I'm seeing some places here that I missed. There's one. There. I'll do it on the other one. I guess it doesn't matter as long as, see, it's, what I don't know is if I'm going to stick with the same line work or not. And I really botched that. Okay, get in there. I think that's all I need there. Because the chair back and the, there we go. Wrong. There we go. There we go. Trying to mimic what I had before so that when I color it in. Oh, now back to coloring. It's all just super easy. And basically, from when I did my last one, if you remember when I did my color work on here, it was not open. It was when I painted, it was the painting. So if we put some of my painting over the top of this color work, this line work, which is behind it now, or is on top of it. But let's put it down here. That's going to make it opaque and interesting, I think, the line work that I've been doing. Oh, I just brought it back up. That's okay. We're just going to color it and then we'll move it. And so now, and if you're having trouble with me being kind of here and there on the discussion, well, something you're gonna have to live with. This is part of the artist working at the same time situation. That's not what I wanted. I wanted it over here. There we go. Oh, and I just marked on there. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and use that orange again. Is that what I've been using? Yeah. And okay, so I've been silent here. And what I'm doing there, anybody who understands the 17 will understand what that is. And I'm not just gonna write out and say what it is, because I want, if you're interested, you'll go out and find it. The 17 and the Q. I can't remember. Is it this color for the? Anyway, there's lots of thoughts going on in there. Yep, so that's the demons. So let's go back to our political fetishes. And what's interesting is that everything is politicized. Everything is politicized. And is viewed through the social justice warrior. That's not what I wanted. Let's get back. See if I can get that. It's hard to see it. Why isn't that? Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to actually paint it through. If I want it to show up. Oh, well, we're going to start there. Everything's seen through the social justice warrior. And I guess we got to wonder where that comes from. And I'm going to tell you that it dates clear back to before World War II. And I will get into that on another day because we're running out of time and it's a complicated subject. But if you want to familiarize yourself with what that's about, and it affects everything, it's called the Frankfurt School. And you could look that up. And there may be some clues on my Facebook page that Facebook profile as I go along, and we might be able to talk about. I'm trying to decide. I'm going to have to write that down. Let me stop a minute and write that down so that we remember tomorrow to talk about the Frankfurt School. And it's spelled with a U-R-T, not an O-R-T. And also critical. Oh, now I can't remember what it's called. It's critical. It's one of the things that they do at the Frankfurt School of Thought. It's a philosophy. It's not critical analysis. Anyway, all this criticism and everything that's going on with the critical, this is terrible. I'll talk about it later, but you'll see when you get in there what they titled that critique process of basically killing anything that and how they want to kill everything, just like what we're seeing today in politics. And it's just another political fetish, and it is a process of looking for demons and doorknobs, assigning mind reading, assigning through their great powers of observation and mind reading, they can tell what your real intentions were, and they have no problem with tweaking anything that they feel to suit their agenda. And I think we all have seen and experienced that. The thing is they're really not being very subtle about it. Those I'm being very subtle about the fetishes. I don't think I want to make that March hare this off-white, because then you're going to think it is the white rabbit, which is a completely different character with a completely different symbolism. I don't want to make them too dark. So let's see. We'll see if we get a color here that's kind of bright but subtle. Let's see if that'll work. I'm going to put it there. I don't know if I like that color. We'll wind it down here too. So, and I really appreciate Shelley and Nicole for their interaction today. I'd love it. This is what it's all about, right? Actually, maybe I'll just choose this orange that's all over and the hair. Seriously? I just want this. There. Nope, I don't want it all. Well, I guess I can. No? Let's see. Boy, it just did all of the off-white. So I'm going to go backwards until it's empty. There. Now, there we go. We can change all those colors all at the same time if we so desire. That's an interesting. Oh. I put the bright yellows here. I did make the face of the March hare a little darker. Where is my pen? There it is. Apparently I didn't close that. A little close. Okay. Because I don't want both of them to be the same yellow. Yep. Okay with that. A little darker yellow on the hands. This is just so cool. So much fun. I think I want his stuff to be white. Go ahead and make it bright white. Porcelain white. And then when we go in and paint, it'll be a different color altogether. All this porcelain. This is the base to get it all opaque. Porcelain. Oh, that hand. It needs to be the lighter yellow because that's what I chose for the. Come on. Yeah, we just get this far. That one's not closed either. Okay. There we go. Get a white down. Oh, and there's a thumb over here that I did not see. And that was too small. That was too big, I'm sure. There we go. And then we'll just color that baby in. Ah, that hand makes more sense now, doesn't it? Yeah. So I'll just color this stuff in. This is too much fun. Porcelain. Looks to me like I've missed that spot too, didn't I? A little thicker. Procreate is so cool. Yeah, we'll make those darker with a, I want to make these a red tag. And I have not used that color yet, which defies the color that I just pulled up. This is a bright red, which defies my sew above. Oh, I still have the ties to do. So, as above, so below. And so that's what I want to keep in mind. You gotta have some warning in there, right? Of course, we got lips to do. You gotta get it all nice in there, close. Try that again. There we go. This is back to white. There we go. Yeah, I know this is not the fun part. I mean, it's fun part for me, but I don't know how fun it is to watch. Unless you like watching me make some mistakes. Okay, there we go. Put the white shirt in there. And then we've got our ties. I don't know what that color that spot should be. Okay. We're going to go ahead and with that red and put it in here. It wasn't red originally. It had sunflowers. These Art Deco type sunflowers in it, which it may end up still having. Learn as we go along. Okay, and then blues. I'm wondering whether or not if I use a finger, hold it down or something, that it'll straighten up. You only do one spot. Oops, did the whole background. Because I paused. Machine only knows as much as you do. Whatever it is you're telling it. It's funny. Oh, that wouldn't be that color, would it? It would be the gold. Yeah. So we're getting to the end of the hour, and I really can't afford to spend any more time than an hour on any of this stuff. So I might have some time this evening to go in and do that little bit of research for the pattern. See, there it is. That's our timer. But we're going to, let's see. I want to finish. Gosh, there's stuff that just bugs the heck. Oh, that's why it filled in. It's because of that. So that's our hour, and so political fetishes and demons and doorknobs, kind of defining some of the things that I think about, and so that you can understand what I talk about later. So let's see. This is where we're at. Let's see. If we go to gallery, I do this. There we go. That's where we're at today. And we will do some more tomorrow at 8 a.m. Central. So join me. I love it when people talk to me. Yes, Shelley views it all with a watchful indifference. Yeah, we can watch it in indifference because we've been kind of trained to do it that way. We kind of have been. I think we need to be vigilant. Watchful vigilance. Because I think there's a lot of things that the world is shifting. And I don't like the direction is shifting. And so we need to pull it back just a little bit. Whoa, 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 whoa. I put the reins on that puppy. So we'll talk about that some more tomorrow. And we'll talk a little bit about Frankfurt School when I know about it. Even though I can. Critical theory. That's what I knew I was going to come up with it eventually. Frankfurt School and the critical theory. And you will actually see some parallels, or the influence. You will actually see the influence of what's going on today with that pre-World War II group of philosophers. And we'll see you tomorrow. Having a hard time getting off, right? Because I'm having too much fun. Have a great day.